So we talk about so many different conditional jump or conditional loop. Actually, those conditional jump and loop can help us to make the conditional structures. So any if statement, while loop statement, or and, or operation in C++ or Java, those high-level language, even the switch statement. Actually, we can use that just based on those jump. So we go through that one by one. So the first thing, let's see, we all know this one, right? When we have in our high-level language, we have one condition. So if this condition is true, so we will do something. Otherwise, we do something else. So this one, how can we using the assembly language to compare that? So we will see here, because this if statement, we will check if the two value, they are the same. So on the other hand, you know, we should use the comp to compare these two values. So if they are equal, we use the JE to jump to set x equal to 1. So then, or we can do the JNE, we come to do this way, right? Okay, good. So that's why here, when you have your if statement, sometimes we need to do is according to your if statement condition. So that's why you see here, we will do the comp. So we compare, we need to, because they are both memory operands, so we cannot do that. We need to move one value to the EAX. So then we compare EAX with the other value. So like earlier we say, right, we will do the JE or JNE. So it's all up to you. So for here, I decide to do the JNE because I need to leave to move the x equal to 2. So then you see here, because if statement, if or else, we have two conditions, right? So we only can choose one of the other. So if it's not equal, I jump to L1. But if they are equal, so that's why I don't really care this line, right? So that's why I just simply to move our x equal to 1. But we need to be careful, even we just move x equal to 1, right? So the next line, actually, I will come to the L1. Should I do the L1 again? No. So that's why actually after you move x equal to 1, right, you can use the unconditional jump. I just jumped the code block after the L1. So that will be L2. So that's why here, before you fill if statement, if else statement is very easy to use. Because in high-level language, we do that. If this is true, I do this. If that's true, so I skip the else. But have you ever think about why I can skip the else? Actually, each instruction they did told you step by step. Because one thing is in assembly language, we see very clear. If here not the same, I jump to here. If it's equal, I cannot jump. So that's why I just move x equal to 1. But if that's true, right? If statement is true, I need to find a way to skip my else statement. So actually those conditional and unconditional jump make our high-level language work like this. Okay, the next one. How about the while loop? In the high-level language, we can just simply write this one, right? So while EAX less than EBX, I just increment EAX. But how should I write in the assembly language? What is the while loop I should write? So have you ever think about that? Actually, while loop is kind of the other if statement. If this one is true, I do this. But also I need to come back to here to check again. So that's why here you can think about what if the while loop look like. Actually, they look like this, right? So I try to compare EAX is EBX, okay? So if less than is true, so that's why we do the JE, right? So this one, you will be less than, you jump to here. So on the other hand, that's me. If they are above or equal, I will leave the while loop. So you need to have a code block for the while loop. So this one, this JAE, led us to leave the while loop. Okay, but if I don't leave the while loop, I just need to continue to increment my EAX. But after my EAX is done, right, my while loop actually is, if this condition is true, after I done, I have no condition. I just need to come back to the while loop. So that's why here you have unconditional jump back to the top. So one conditional jump makes you to leave the while loop, and one unconditional jump take you back to the while loop. So actually this one is the while loop structure. Okay, so the next two example, we will go to see the AND operator. But here, the AND operator is not the AND operator we talked about last week. This one actually is this AND. It's ampersand operator we use in the high-level language. So have you ever think about how the AND operator we should write in assembling language? So you see here, if that's the high-level language, right, you have two conditions. So two logic expression, we need to connect them together, use the AND or ampersand. So how can I come to this point? So they need to be, because that's the AND, right? So they both need to be true. So the both need to be true mean what? Actually, when we do the left-hand side, this condition, if this condition A1 greater than B1 is false, should I continue? No, I don't need to continue, right? So AND operation actually is only for when your first operation is true. I do the second one. But if the first one already is false, I just skip. So how can I write the AND operation in assembly language? So the same thing, you see, you use the comp, right? You comp AL and the BL. If this one is true, right? If this one is true, JA, so then I jump to the second one, I compare this one. But if not, I can have the other one is, I just right away jump to, I just leave the loop. I just leave this condition. So on the other hand, the first thing we will do the comp AL and the BL. So only they are greater, so I go to the next. So that's why here, actually, what we need to do is, we can have another JAE. Okay, so here, when you have your comp AL and the BL, so if this one is, if this one is true, right, I need to go to this one to continue to check. Okay, so that's why only the JA I come to the L1. So L1 again, I do the compare BL and the CL. So if this one is true, again, I come to jump to the L2. So then I have move X equal to 1. However, the rest of that, I just need to go back to the line after the X equal to 1, right? So that's why I see afterward, they all the unconditional jump to the end of your X equal to 1. Okay? So here just show you, right? Be careful, you always know how to write two statements on two logical expression, you do the AND, how they work. But actually, when the high-level language translates into the assembling language, they have so many statements. Instead of here, you only have two lines. Then how about the OR statement? So remember your OR statement, you have two logic operation. But should I always check both? Yeah, AND operation, you have to check both. But OR, remember, OR is if one of them is true, it's just true. So that's why when I have compare AL greater than BL, if this one is true, what should I do? Should I come to the next expression to check? No, right. So I just right away go to the x1, x equal to 1. Okay, so that's why here, when we write the conditional jump or unconditional jump for the OR, we write like this way. So the first thing I compare AL with the BL. But if this one is true, I right away jump to I have x equal to 1. So that's why JA is true. So I jump to here. But if this one is not true, then right, I just compare the BL and the CL again. So then if this one is true, right? So that's why this one is different. This one, for the JA, I just right away jump to here. But one thing is, this one, after I do the BL and the CL check, right? Actually, I will have is if not correct, then I jump to here. Because anyway, if this one is true, right, I will just go to the next value. So that's all the conditional jump or unconditional jump, how we really use that. So actually, when we get used to the high-level language, everything looks so easy. But in the other hand, actually computer, they check every statement. So that's why we can make that true.